This journey for me in art is about expressing what is going on inside of me. And for me, that's what art is finding your voice and then using that voice to say something. So what I want to say is that right now I've been kind of going through some stuff, and that stuff has to do with perfectionism. Every struggle, whether it's arguments, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's creative blocks, everything for me comes down to perfectionism. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. I don't really have a plan for this. I'm kind of running some errands today. I gotta get going, so let's go ahead and hit the road. Comment, say bye. At around the age of 5, I was learning how to play chess with my dad and my grandfather. And in chess, there are very rigid rules, and there's a clear winner and loser. By the time that I was in school, I was a sports guy, and obviously in sports, there's winners and there's losers. And so I'd start to develop this thing of I need to impress, I need to be special, I need to be the best. So by the time that I got into college, I majored in biology, and that is very analytical, very critical, and if you don't follow your steps to the T, then your experiment comes out wrong. After one semester of bio with an intense workload, I developed anxiety. That perfectionism led to this development of anxiety, which ultimately led me on such a huge journey that I'm still going and walking down today. Perfectionism is bad. Striving for excellence is not bad. Now the difference is that perfectionism is that I'm not good enough. It comes from a place that I'm not good enough. And striving for excellence is doing the best that you can out of a place of love for yourself. Example, I'm gonna go work out right now, and I could go in there and say to myself, you know what, I'm skinny, I need to be buffer, summer's coming, and I'm not a man if I don't have muscles. Or I could go in and say that I want to go work out because I know that it's good for my mental health, it's good for my physical health, and I want to be the best version of myself for me. And that's for me. The whole comparison is another key point in this, and not comparing yourself to others, because that's perfectionism hiding also. Had to hide you guys in the trunk because I don't want anybody to steal the camera. Anyway, so I'm home. Let's go in the studio and talk a little bit more about this. All right, so we're here in the studio. I changed. Imagine walking around just feeling like that there's pressure on you 24/7 all the time. Pressure to perform, pressure to be perfect, basically, because that's what perfectionism is. It weighs down on you and it crushes down on you. Now that's just for a normal person. If you're a creative, you're an artist, that is suffocating for your art. That just extinguishes any creative flame. And I know for me, it just overwhelms me. And so what it ends up leading to is that I procrastinate because I'm worried about it's not gonna be good enough. This dialogue that goes on in my head just convinces me out of everything. And when I finally do get to it, then it's not because I've procrastinated and have minimal amount of time, then I don't do my best. And so at the end of it, I finish, and it might be good, it might not be good. Either way, I don't see that because I beat up on myself and I say that I didn't give myself enough time. You know, if you wouldn't have procrastinated, then it would probably be better and more people would have liked it. The point of all of this and the reason that I'm sharing this is that perfectionism will kill your creativity. I absolutely promise you that from firsthand experience. I know that so many of us strive to be a perfectionist because it's almost sought after. We hear a lot of successful people who are perfectionists, and it sounds like it's a good thing, but in reality it's not, because it will kill your creativity. It'll stop you from creating the work that you want to create. I know how hard it is to walk around being a perfectionist. It's just a personality trait that we develop, and a lot of us maybe have predispositions to. So how do we get out of that? How do we overcome that? The step one in everything is noticing. So whatever it takes for you to become aware of that. For me, it's meditation. Meditation just heightens my awareness of everything. I'm pretty aware of most of the things that are going on, but even then, with meditation, it just takes it to a whole nother level. So meditate, that's number one. Number two is go talk to somebody. If it's affecting your life, it's seeping into your personal life, and you can't find joy in little things, and it's overwhelming you to the point that you aren't creating. You have ideas and you're not creating. Then go get help. And by help, I mean go see a therapist. There's nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. I see one every now and then when I need to. Because perfectionism can lead to things like depression and anxiety. And then that's a whole host of new problems and something else that you have to tackle before you can even get down to the root thing. So step two is to just ask for help. Maybe it's not a therapist, maybe it's a friend. Either way, ask for help. Number three, you've already realized that you are a perfectionist and that it's detrimental to your creativity and to your life in general. So then what? The answer to perfectionism, which is perfect, super high standards and all of that, the answer to that is good enough. And it will be painful, I promise you, because it is so painful for me. But doing something and being done with it at good enough. There's so many projects that I get to and that I look at and I think in my mind it's perfect. This idea is perfect in my mind. And then when I go to actually create it, there comes a point to where it's not matching up to the reality of or not the reality, but I guess the fantasy land that's in my mind. So at that point, it's really discouraging. And a lot of times I want to quit. A lot of times I just want to stop because it's not going to be as good as I thought it was. But then maybe it turns into something new if I stick with it. The point is that the goal is not perfect. Change the goal from perfect to good enough. Good enough meaning that, you know what, maybe it's not perfect. Maybe there are a couple things that are wrong with it, but at least it gets done. It takes the pressure off of needing to be perfect, needing to strive for this unattainable goal. And it allows you to put out your art, regardless of if you think it's perfect or not. Just being consistent with your art. Consistency and persistency is a big thing. So good enough is essentially the cure. Example for me for this. When I am just down in the trenches of perfectionism, I do not create. I get overwhelmed and all of my creativity is suffocated and I have ideas and I can't take the first step and create them. Sometimes if it gets even worse than that, then the ideas even stop coming. So the antidote for me that I found is spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes each and every day and devote that time to creativity. Regardless of if you create something or not, that's not the point. The point is that you at least make the time and attempt to create something. If you get to that end of that 10 or 15 minutes and you haven't created anything, that still counts. That's still a win. You're still successful, but that still counts because you made the time and you devoted it to creativity. So rather than feeling like you have to change the world with something that you create every single day, which is just such a huge weight on your shoulders, once you get out from under that and jump into the good enough is how you get out from under that, then it starts to get a little easier. Once you create something, then that leads to the next thing, and that leads to the next thing, and then before you know it, you've got this snowball effect where you're creating and it's getting closer to your goals of what you had before. But the change is that it feels better to you. It's not so hollow. You begin to feel happier because you lose that weight. You shed that weight, that pressure that you carry around with you, and you can create just for you. So I hope that helps you guys. I know I'm right there with you. This is something that I struggle with from week to week, to be honest with you. So if you have any questions or you can relate to this, I'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next one. So peace.